Half of voters believe Brexit has made it harder to solve the migration crisis, a new poll says. I'm going to read into this poll more from the exclusive from iNews, guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Regan Elite here with an exclusive from iNews with the headline that half of voters believe Brexit has made it harder to solve the Channel migration crisis, poll says. More Leave voters believe quitting the EU has made it hard to deliver effective asylum policy, despite Brexiteers' pledge to take back control of the UK borders. When we were pushed. The incentive obviously was when we were pushed really hard was, that we would have more control of our borders. The whole term taking back control, and yet it feels like ever since then we've lost so much control of everything. We've lost control of trade, we've lost control of immigration, we've lost control of our healthcare, we've lost control of. There's loads and loads of things I feel like we the British public have lost control of, as opposed to taking back control. I feel like it's just been the exact opposite, giving away control, giving up control, as opposed to taking back control. And it could, from where we were in 2016 to where we are now is quite damning, to say the least, guys. So this opinion poll is from Opinion. So this opinion poll is, do you think Brexit has made it easier or harder for the UK to control its asylum system, as a percentage? So it's bracketed in percentage. The red indicates it's harder and the orange indicates it's easier. So overall responses, 49% think it's harder, 21 say it's easier. Conservative voters, 41%. To 25 in easier. Labour voters 60 to 17. Remain voters 63 to 15, and Brexit voters 42 to 23. This survey was conducted between the 18th and the 22nd of October, so not too long ago was this poll conducted. So nearly half of voters believe Brexit has made it harder for the UK to manage Channel asylum seekers, which is 1 in 5 think quitting the EU has made it easier, a new poll suggests. A total of 49% of the public said Brexit has made it hard to make good asylum policy, while 21% said the opposite, according to a poll by Optimum shared with the Eye. Even those who back Brexit believe quitting the EU has made managing asylum more difficult, with 42% saying leaving the bloc has made it hard to compete, with 23% saying it's now easier. It comes despite Brexiteers promising that leaving the EU would allow the UK to take back control of its borders. It is likely to be a reflection of the fact that the Channel small boat crisis has hugely prolificated in its scale since the UK's departure from the EU. But it also could fuel calls for the UK to strike an asylum returns deal with the EU, something Rishi Sunak but Brussels is currently not engaging with the government, while the bloc is in a tortuous negotiation with its own continent-wide framework. Earlier this month, Conservative former Immigration Minister Lord Keppot told the Eye the government should seek membership of any new scheme to share the burden of asylum seekers as a way to end the Channel crisis, and their current plans to deport migrants to Rwanda, which they have failed to get off the ground due to legal challenges. Yeah, they're trying to do stuff which is basically in a breach of human rights, basically, which is why there's always this talk about getting rid of being a part of the European Court of Human Rights. They want to get out of that, these extreme right wingers. Excuse me, which I think is not be in the best, would be very inhumane, that's for sure. The poll carried out by More in Common, however, suggests that voters are split on working deals with other countries, with 38% believing more cooperation is needed at international level compared to 36% who think the government is doing enough in this area. The poll comes after the government's chaos so-called Small Boats Week earlier this month, which ended in a farce after ministers were forced to evacuate the Bibi Stockholm asylum barge following a Legionella bacteria scare. The survey suggests that voters are sceptical about the barge, with 43% of people agreeing that the government's decision to house people seeking asylum on the vessel has been largely motivated by the need to grab positive headlines amid the Channel crisis. That's exactly how it was. If they had followed policy, things would have been a lot different. By contrast, just 29% think the barge represents a genuine effort by the government to effectively manage the accommodation of people seeking asylum. Jennifer Nadell, coordinator of Compassion in Politics, says a barge is a big and highly noticeable, preferable for grabbing headlines. What it is not is an effective way to support people seeking asylum. These are individuals who have left behind their homes in the hope of finding safety and freedom, only to be locked up in a floating prison. This is no way to treat those in need. This is no way to treat fellow human beings. And we know the government is under pressure to manage the asylum system, but it's in pressure of its own making. Home Secretary Suella Braverman on Monday insisted that the BB Stockholm barge is safe after firefighters raised the possibility of legal action. I'm concerned about the safety of those on board. The Fire Brigade Union, the FBU, has sent a pre-action protocol letter to Mrs. Braverman outlining its concerns over the fire safety aboard the vessel moored in the Dorset Portland port. The union had previously branded the giant barge, initially designed for about 200 people but modified to 500 migrants, a potential death trap. The first asylum seekers placed on board the BB Stockholm earlier this month were removed days later after tests revealed the Colia, the bacteria which causes potentially fatal Legionnaires' diseases. The FBU is demanding a response to its legal letter by Thursday. Let me be clear, I am confident barges are safe, Mrs. Braverman told the BBC, even though they had to be removed because it was deemed unsafe. This barge has accommodated people in the past, asylum seekers, oil rig workers, and barges of this kind have been used to accommodate asylum seekers. For example, in Scotland, I'm very confident this barge is safe for human habitation. Well, you can always stay in there if you really want to, Ms. Braverman. We followed all the advice and protocols in anticipation of embarkation. That is not true. She was accused of the trade unions of launching a political attack on the government, but was unable to say when the asylum seekers were returned to the barge. Yeah, sure. Well, just thinking based on the a lot of that was stuff we already know, but I think more to the point is that people feel that since we've left the EU, more and more people feel we're just worse off, guys. We're much worse off since we've left the European Union, since Brexit happened, and that in particular, obviously, we're looking at when it comes to migration and immigration, it has gotten worse. It has skyrocketed, and pollsters are believing that too now. Obviously, it is just one poll, but if people are hearing, and when you have it constantly hammered in your head from right wingers and the likes of Nigel Farage constantly making these points that got to deal with the migrants, and the numbers are getting worse, it's only making the government look bad, and it's putting people questioning Brexit, because the whole point of Brexit was it would take back control, and as we all know, we have not taken back control. We have lost control. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. Are you surprised by this opinion poll? Do you think it's true? Do you think the vast majority think that Brexit's made it worse? I'm interested to hear your thoughts and feedback on this. Like, share and subscribe as always. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.